Welcome to the EW podcast. I'm Eric White. In today's episode, I have the pleasure of speaking with Jèan P. Jèan P is a Canton, Ohio-based rapper, and he recently released a new album called Say What You Mean. Say What You Mean is 14 tracks of honest and lyrical hip-hop that, like Jèan, doesn't pretend to be anything it's not. I highly recommend checking the album out on Spotify or wherever you listen to music, even if you're not a fan of hip-hop. It's unlike most hip-hop that's played on the radio or in the mainstream, and as you'll hear in this conversation, he has a true love for the culture, and his artistry fully embodies his desire to be open about who he is as a person. Links to find the album to stream or to purchase are in the show notes for this episode. If you stick around until the end of our conversation, Jèan also gave me the green light to include his song JJ, which, if you're interested, has an accompanying music video on YouTube. Jèan is also an old college friend from Ohio University, so you'll hear us talk about our experience in school here a little bit, and we also riff on how his artistry has evolved since our college days up to now. For reference, his album Still Dreaming, which we discuss here a little bit, came out in 2012, the year I graduated. We start the podcast off talking about his new album, Say What You Mean, and the evolution of his creative process. We also discuss what it was like losing his parents at a young age, and how he used the support system he had to grow into the person and artist he's become. We also spend time talking about his job as a mailman during coronavirus, social justice, the teaching capabilities of hip-hop, and other topics. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I hope if you're not familiar with Jèan yet, you'll go check him out after listening to us talk here. So, without further ado, here's my conversation with Jèan P. Cool, man. Yeah, I loved your new album, dude.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. How many albums is that now? 5 or 6? More than that?
Man, Say What You Mean is the 21st project overall.
Oh, shoot.
The time we was in school until now. Say What You Mean is like my 6th album.
Okay.
But my 21st project overall.
Damn.
It's a lot of damn. And you start to feel it at 30. You're like, man, this shit is getting tedious, man. I don't know how I'm doing this shit at OU all the time.
It's getting tedious, like the writing and the creation of the album. What's tedious about it right now?
It can be. I think more of like, once I started to see like my music, I had to make more music to kind of keep things going. I never really took a break from the time we started in college until now. So now I'm getting this time to just like, all right, I'm just waiting. So I'm like creatively ready. I'm not the type of person to just be in the studio all the time. Plus I work 2 jobs and I'm a dad and got a lot of other things going on. So like when I have to sit down and get into that mode, it's like, man, how do I do this? So now I'm just waiting for the creative juices to flow, and then I'll get back into it with some more content. I just like to do albums, but this one was the one that kind of took me off just a little bit. So
what do you mean took you off?
Like more listeners.
Oh, word.
More Twitter followers, Instagram, being on my mail route, people listen to the album and they'll be like, oh shit, Jèan P is my mailman. So
that's tight, man. I love that. I love that about you. I mean, I've loved that about you since like the early days whenever we were back at Ohio University, and like Still Dreaming and stuff. Like your level of honesty with it, and you never have come across as someone who's like pretending to be something they're not, you know? And
appreciate it, man.
Mad
I just
respect
know
for
when
that.
people that's watch. I just know like when it's people I know that's watching me that know Jèan, they're gonna be like, okay, you're gonna see what he's saying and what he's not saying. So that's why I put it out there. Like I work, I'm a mailman, I'm a caretaker, you know, and I just talk about my everyday life, but I try to show other people, like when you go into hip hop, you can go into this shit being yourself, because there's a lot of characters in hip hop. That's why the shit is so cookie cutter now. You get kind of tired of it. So I just try to stay in my lane and do what I do and just show people you can be yourself.
Yeah.
And still make it look cool. You know what I'm saying? So
why do you think there's so many characters? Is it just because that's what sells, or is that what the industry demands of people to make it, or why do people create these characters that they end up using?
Well, in my opinion, I think there's people that love the culture. And don't get me wrong, everything that you do is a business. But you have some people that really just want to rap to get money.
Mm-hmm.
So they will do anything, they'll make up a person. Like a lot of rappers, everyone thinks some rappers is gangsters and tough guys. Not all these guys are like that. You know what I mean? Some
Yeah.
people will make up because it'll sell, you know what I'm saying? To answer your question, it'll sell, so they'll run with it for a long time. But I don't want fame or that bad to where I gotta change who I am as a person to make it. And there's some people that will do that. And I just don't want to get to where I have to change what people know me as versus who I need to be to sell some records. It's never really been me. So
Yeah. I respect that, man. Have you ever wanted to be famous? Like, has that ever been a part of your motivation?
I never wanted to be like famous, but my first dream really was to be a writer. Like I wanted to be that more than anything. Like when I was a kid and I would see like people's names on books, I thought that was the coolest shit ever. So I was like, man, what do I got to do that? So I started writing poetry. So I wanted to be a famous writer. But then I started to like hip hop at an early age. So it transitioned into that. But I just love the culture. I love what hip hop does for me as a man. I love what the influence that it has. I love that there's people that appreciate the things I talk about. Because a person that's in hip hop, they'll say, oh, well, he's not talking about nothing. He ain't making no bangers, no hit records. He's not doing what everyone else is doing. And there's people that appreciate originality. So me getting into hip hop wasn't about being famous. It was more about, I just love the culture. It intervened in my life at a very pivotal time, losing my parents at a young age. Hip hop was my mother and father. I learned a lot of things in hip hop from the music I was listening to. Like some hip hop you don't want to get too influenced by, but the artists I was listening to, they were teaching me things and I could relate because they looked like me. Though they came from a different era than I did, just soaking in that game, it made me want to be a part of the culture more than anything.
Word. Yeah, I feel like going back to kind of the character thing we were talking about, I feel like whenever someone has created this character that they're making music around or making a creative art around, it becomes less authentic and harder for people to relate to it, right? Because you're not actually speaking about things you've experienced. Like you mentioned your parents passing away at a young age, and that's something you talk about in your music too. And if you had created a character that you were trying to, act as, that would be absent from your work.
Yeah, I feel like there's just some things you can't imitate. I can confidently say there is no other Jèan P than MC. Mm-hmm. There may be guys that have the same demeanor as me, similar clothes, but when it comes to what I talk about, I don't think you can make a Jèan P. I don't think you can make some artists you just can't recreate.
Yeah.
And I take pride in that all the time, because it's a lot of people in hip hop that just sound like everybody. Mm. Like I remember when we were in school, when Wiz came out, everybody was weed rappers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody, I was like, man, where are these people start smoking all this weed from? When Chief Keef came out, everybody was in the videos with their shirts off. Gang, gang, gang. When Migos came out, everyone was rapping like Migos. There's always trends in hip hop, but I respect the originators. Like I was always taught by my parents, don't be a follower, be a leader. And sometimes being a leader is doing things that people may not understand. Because for years, people didn't understand that. Like, it was like, why this dude talking about his Beagle in his song? Why this dude talking about Legos and he grown ass man? Like, why this dude talk, like, that's things I enjoy. So I just like to be transparent. To me, like, excuse my language, that's what being a real nigga is. Because, in hip hop, everybody wants to be real. Everybody wants to be real. But some people think being real is how aggressive or how hard you could be. I think being real is just telling your story, and that's all I'm doing. So
yeah, you mentioned Wiz Khalifa, and like when he came out, he kind of influenced a whole new wave of weed rappers. But his did start in an authentic place. Like that was really him, and then it got kind of like adopted by a whole new wave of musicians, right?
This is true. Yeah, I remember because Wiz, I remember listening to Wiz Khalifa on MySpace. Like my junior year of high school, I was listening to Wiz Khalifa, and he was like an up and coming artist, but his weed references weren't as heavy as they were as we know it. You know what I mean? But he was
Yeah.
on the come up. But when he came out and let that be known, everyone followed suit. So to me, that's a trendsetter. Like Wiz came out and people tried to emulate what he did, but
Mm-hmm.
there's only one Wiz Khalifa, and you could tell if someone's trying to be like him or any other artist that you may like. You know, like another example could be like Kanye. You know, everyone's all into fashion now and being controversial and just saying anything and having these crazy whatever Kanye think in his head, but
Yeah.
everybody tries to be that thing. But that's the influence of hip hop, you know. It's everywhere, you know, commercials, movies,
Yeah.
TV. That's just the influence of the culture.
How do you avoid that though? Like when did Still Dreaming come out? That was like 2011 or 2000. That was when we were still in school, right?
Yep, we were still in school. That came out on my birthday. I think it was 2011 or 2012, and that was at that time. I was just trying to be seen. You know, when I was in Athens and I was around other artists and I was seeing like the bands and I was inspired by them, you know, like the local acts that were doing those shows. And I was like, man, how can I make myself be seen? Because the hip hop that was there, it was great, but it wasn't represented the right way.
Mm.
I was in the mix, you know, I was with other students. I was making myself be seen through hip hop shop and, you know, just being around different groups of people. I mean, you and I seen each other a few times, you know, hanging out, and we knew the same people and
Yeah.
being a part of certain organizations. So it was kind of good that I was in that mix. So it was important for me to make myself be seen as much as possible. And I'm very grateful for the experience I had being in Athens. You know, it kind of changed my life. I think about that all the time. Though I didn't graduate, I just think about what would have happened if I didn't go there and how things would have been for me. So I'm grateful for the time I spent at OU.
Yeah. That's been 8 or 9 years now. How does your process change? Like what's different today than maybe was true back then?
What's different today versus then?
Yeah.
Then I remember Saturday being the day where I would go to the Dirty South,
Yeah.
where I think Chris stayed in Ewing. So I used to go there on Saturdays.
That's a section of dormitories in our on our
Yeah,
campus for
yeah,
people who don't know.
yeah. Ewing
Yeah.
Hall back at OU. I just remember that Saturday. That was the day I'd get up early in the morning, go to Chris's. Then at night we're uptown, like everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's all there is to do there, man.
That's all.
Just go
Yeah. So
uptown.
the difference now is uh, I don't have the crew there. I don't have the people to bounce off of. There's people here locally that I do that with. And now there's just way more ways to be seen. It's crazy because even then we thought Twitter was like, oh man, this is crazy. Now you have Zoom and now you have Facebook bigger than what it was. So social media and digitally it's just grown so much. You can do so much. You can make yourself seen. If you would have told me I could upload my album myself, I would have never believed you. And now you can upload an album whenever you want.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the difference is the consistency, just being able to put out mad content back to back to back to back to back. So it's good to get with the times.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's more of like a solitary process now? You mentioned you don't have the same amount of people to bounce ideas off of, and you know, you're not interacting with people maybe in the same way that you did at school. Does it feel like a more solo kind of act that you're doing now compared to then?
I could say that. It's
Yeah.
always been a solo act for me. I've never been the person to have 20 people in the lab with me. So when I say having people around, in those days in college, it was me, DJ Eyeshine, Russell. You just be sitting in that single dorm. You know how little them singles was.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we all up there cooped up just rapping. You know, so the process now is the same. Instead of recording in my dorm, I record out of my bedroom. So it's always been a simple process for me. So it's better, but sometimes I do miss having the homies around. But now they in Columbus and all spread all out. So now it's just Jèan. So
Yeah. You still keep in touch with them though, I'm sure, right? You were talking about
always,
Russell before, so
yeah, man, always.
yeah.
Russell just had a baby boy. So
Nice. Congrats to Russ if he's listening,
yeah,
man.
from being 18-year-old kids wondering what our lives is going to be to us being fathers and getting married and stuff now, it's a blessing to live and see that. So
Oh yeah, man. I kind of want to go back to your parents because this podcast originally started as like an exploration of mental health topics. I don't know if you know this or not, but I was like pretty depressed in college. I had gone through some trauma when I was 16 that I didn't really address or didn't even know was there. And so I was pretty depressed during that time. And it wasn't until like 2014 that I really started to like work on myself and figure out what was going on. But that's a hard thing to deal with, man. It's hard to like, I was still able to do creative things through that trauma, but it was holding me back in a lot of ways. And I'm just curious, what was your experience like, you know, losing your mother, losing your father at young ages? Like, how did you manage that trauma while also still being a creative individual?
well, when I was young, I lost my mother when I was 15, and my father was killed when I was 6. So I kind of dealt with the dark times before I became Jèan P, the MC. I just didn't have people to tell me like it's okay to talk about it. You know, now it's crazy how now mental health is okay to be talked about, but back then it was just suck it up, you'll be okay. You know, it was like I was always kind of like a loner. So when I got depressed, I always been a person of faith. So them times when I got depressed and sad, I didn't know what to do. I always knew just to play music to make me feel better. That's why that's why I gravitate to it so much. It's why it makes me feel kind of good when people from the days we were in school are saying, man, you still doing it.
Yeah.
You know, like my reason for music is not to be famous. It's because it makes me feel good as a person. I just love to leave an impact. But then I just had to write. Writing was my therapy. You know, whenever I was dealing with my mom or I missed my mom, I write her letters. I would write about things I want to tell her. I write letters to my dad, but they just turned into raps. And I started talking about other things. And it wasn't until I went to college when I was able to finally record. So it was a rough childhood mentally. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, just like you, I didn't know you dealt with depression because every time I saw you, you had a smile on your face. And I'm starting to see, but I actually seen a post saying that it's people that are always happy that cover up like the most on the inside, because I've always been a positive person, but it's like nobody ever asked me how I'm feeling. Nobody ever asked me what's on my mind. It's always, oh, okay, he's smiling, so he's okay. That wasn't always the case. And it wasn't until I went to college, meeting Russell and Chris and having friends, you know, long friendships with people I've known for 10 plus years. So if it wasn't for hip hop and those guys, man, I don't know how I would have dealt with losing my parents, to be honest with you. I think Athens was the savior for me at that time because I was really unsure of what was next for me, even after high school.
Didn't know what you wanted to do.
I didn't know. You know, I didn't know if I didn't know I could do music. I always rapped in high school and junior high, but when I finally recorded on the mic, it was when I was like, okay, I can do this. It wasn't until I did that first show at the Union, I was like, oh, okay, I can do this. You know what I mean? It wasn't until Max and Cremedia gave me my first dope HD video, I was like, I can do this. Like, I feel good. Like, if they see it, I can. Because everyone, when you're so used to people telling you, oh, Jèan, you're good. But it's hard to tell yourself you can do it when everyone's like, you don't know if they're telling you this because they're to be nice or they're telling you because it's genuine. But when I started to study myself and know as an artist I had it, it was when I knew I was good.
But you had family support though still. Like I know your uncle was really big in your life growing up and definitely was huge in you developing your love for music and your skills as a rapper. Was that able to supplement the loss of your parents in a way that allowed you to embrace your skill? Because the reason I ask this is just because, like, if I imagine my parents passing before I discovered the thing that I was wanting to do, it would be really hard to like buy into that wholesale. So I'm just curious what that was like for you.
My Uncle Jerry, he was the parent at one point in time, and he was the first person that kind of inspired me when it came to hip hop. You know, my uncle was a local artist. I remember years ago when I was a little kid, my uncle gave me a CD and seeing his face on it, and I was like, damn, that's my Uncle Jerry, you know. And that was another thing. I was like, my uncle can do it, I can do it, you know. And he showed me what to listen to music wise, gave me a lot of good tips and feedback, and it helped me, you know, to be the artist that I am now. And not only Uncle Jerry, but, you know, like I mentioned before, Russell and Chris and Hip Hop Congress and my manager now, Tiffany, who's known me since I was 8 years old. And I have a lot of people that make up for the lack of my parents that show me love. You know what I mean? Because though I don't have a mother and father physically, I always have family and friends that I can like rely on for that support that I need.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good that you recognize that too. I feel like it'd be easy for someone to be angry and to, you know, and be closed off to that kind of support in other places whenever, you know, what people's main source of support is when they're growing up, you know, you expect it to be a mother and father figure, and to not have that and still be open to receiving that love. That's an admirable thing, man, for sure.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I've always had mentors like that kind of guided me and would kick me in the ass if needed, give me the advice I needed. So, and I think that was just a blessing from God. Like, okay, my mother and father aren't here, but that person is going to tell you what you need to hear or tell you what you need to better yourself as an artist. So I can't take the credit for Jèan P, the MC, just as myself entirely. There have been a lot of people that have helped me with their words and game that helped me be the artist I am now, or that I want to be. I still feel like as long as I've been doing it, I still have a lot to learn and a lot that I want to do.
You still got drive to do it and keep going as hard as you've been on it?
Yeah, man. The post office don't kick my damn legs off. Now, sometimes I don't feel like standing up in that booth. I'm like, I just want to sit down and rap. When you walk 13 miles a day.
Oh, yeah. You walking on that route, huh?
Yeah, I'm walking. Everybody thinks I just drive up to the box. Nah, I walk.
How long have you been doing that?
I've been a mailman. It'll be 4 years next month.
Damn.
So never thought I'd be able to do that job, but I'm doing it.
That's an interesting thing right there, because I know, you know, even for me and like doing this podcast, or, you know, I'm sure there's someone listening who has like something they wish that they could do, but they feel like maybe they're stuck in their job or being held back by the things that they have to do to survive. But you're managing to have a hip hop career that you're happy with while also working jobs to pay the bills, right?
Right.
How do you do that? Like, how do you find the energy and how do you find the energy and also break your day up to be able to still be creative while also having this job for 4 years?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't like to answer questions which I don't know, but I don't know how I do it. I don't know, man, because being a mailman is hard some days. When you walking the same route, the same steps every day, sometimes 6 days a week, and then want to record and do podcasts and do all this stuff, you're like, man, I don't know how I do it. But when you're really passionate about something, you make time for it. So there's times on my lunch break, if I got time and I got some beats, I'll write a 16. Or if I get creative, I know my route well enough to where I can stop for a few minutes and jot down a rhyme that I think of, or like weekends and nights and when I'm off. And I don't look at me being an artist as a job per se, because I find joy in it. So when I'm creative and ready, I get excited. Like when I get off work, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna lay down this verse I wrote, I'm good. And that's like fun to me. What isn't fun about it is like all the business stuff and Sometimes like my manager will tell me, you know, we need to do this and we got to keep this going. And sometimes it's just like, oh, I don't want to hear that. I just want to rhyme, man, and do what I need to do. But I also want my music to take me places. You know, I always, and say what you mean, I was like, I'm trying to live to where my son could be a bobcat. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be able to work hard enough to where he can go to college one day and have that experience that I didn't get to succeed at. But even if he didn't want to do that, I just want to be able to provide for him through something that I love. You know, I love my job. I'm grateful for it, but I dearly, dearly love being a hip hop artist.
Is being a hip hop artist something you would want to be your full-time job?
If I knew the finances was consistent.
Yeah.
Because in music, sometimes having friends that, you know, are living independent and they do music full time, sometimes it could be good days, sometimes it could be shitty days. And I think about my son, you know, at the end of the day, if I have to work to make sure he's okay, a 9 to 5, and had to put my dream on hold to provide for him, I'm willing to do that because he comes first. You know what I'm saying? But I also want my son to look at his dad and be like, well, if my dad can do what he loves to do and still go to work, I can too. So that's why I don't mind sometimes having the sore legs and not being able to hang out or things like that, because I know the reward is greater in the end.
How is Amir doing, man?
Man, he's doing good. I just dropped him off.
Yeah.
Back to Columbus with his mom. He's doing good. He'll be 10 next month.
Is he writing rhymes yet? You got him scribbling things down?
Nah, he's Minecraft, man. I don't like to force things on the kid. Like, I try. He sings. He likes to sing.
Cool.
But he's just Minecraft, YouTube. That's his thing, man. That's like every kid's thing now. It's just to be the best YouTuber, gamer. I don't know if that's the thing right now, but that's what he wants to do. So,
dude, it's crazy how you can literally make a career off gaming now. It's mind blowing.
When he found that out, he was like, "Dad, we gotta make a YouTube channel." So he thinks it's gonna happen quick. I'm getting 1 million subscribers and I'm gonna upload videos. I'm like, son, okay, but it takes this. And he's like, "Oh, Dad, I just want to get on YouTube and get 1 million views." I'm like, "But you gotta work for it." So whatever he wants to do, man, I'm gonna be behind him and be with him. So,
where did you learn that, man? That style of parenting? Yeah, where does that come from?
It comes from my mother. You know, though my mother passed away at a young age in my life, she taught me a lot. You know, she always taught me to treat people with respect. Don't be a follower, be a leader. Whatever you do, have faith in it, even when people don't believe in you. Because even in the days way back, it was many people that was like, "Oh, Jèan P is not good," or "He's not this, he's not that." But my mom helped me to understand that never let people's insecurities go off on you. Yeah. And that affected me for a long time, because I'd be like, man, like, I love being an artist. Even if I wasn't the best lyrically at the time, I was passionate about it. So that style of parenting comes from my mother and my stepdad. My stepdad was very strict, but it taught me structure. It taught me not to be delved into bullshit because it'll get you in places you don't want to be in. So I kind of have a balance in regards to how I parent my son. His mom does a great job. She's a little tough, you know what I'm saying? You know, so she does her part too. I'm just glad that we can do it together. You know what I'm saying? From a distance. So it's working out well. I just want the best for my son. That's all.
Oh yeah, man. That's mad respect for that sentiment for sure.
Thank you.
Mad respect to you, dude, for having structure like that with so many responsibilities and just handling them all, man. I just
do the best I can, man. I just, I make time for myself. I work. It's crazy because me having 2 jobs and doing music, it doesn't sound like a lot to me. But when I tell people that, I'm like, I work 2 jobs. They're like, Jèan P, you work 2 jobs? I'm like, yes, I do work 2 jobs and still try to make music to please y'all.
Does it ever just get on your nerves when you hear people complaining about their lack of time or anything? What is that?
I try to understand time management, to be honest with you. Yeah. Sometimes it kind of makes me cringe when people say, "Oh my God, I don't want to work."
Yeah.
for 4 hours. I'm like, you don't want to walk 6 days a week. You know, you don't want to do that now. Like I was complaining when it was hot, but now it's getting a little chilly, which is cool. But when that snow come down, I'm a dread getting up in the
Shit.
morning.
You still got to walk when the snow is coming down, man?
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
Rain, that's what they say. Rain,
Yep.
sleet, snow. You don't see the mailman out there because, man, I didn't realize I could do that job. When I got through that job, I was like, okay, I can do anything. You work through a damn snowstorm and negative weather just to get people their Amazon packages and letters and stuff, man.
Yeah. Presidential ballots this year. That's like the thing.
Everyone thinks we know everything. Like with this election and when the stimulus checks came out, no one ever talked to me on the ride. They just let me do my thing. When the president said I'm giving out checks, hey mailman, where's mine? You know, I'm like, yo, I don't know when they're coming. I don't know if we're gonna get a second one. They just think we know everything about all these stimuluses and things going on.
It's like I don't sort the mail, man. I don't.
Yeah, we don't. I don't sort it. I just whatever's at my case, I case it in, I sign on my packages, and I just go out on my day. So
It's got to be kind of a weird time to be doing that right now with just so much stress and anxiety around like coronavirus and just all the stress and anxiety that's in the air today, you know.
yeah, it was scary, you know, especially when they announced it, like when the pandemic first hit. That was the first thing I thought about was like, what about my job? You know, how are we gonna function? You know, because when it first hit the fan, you know, like a lot of people, we never thought we lived through a quote unquote pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
You know? When I heard that word, I was just like, what the fuck is about to happen? Like, what's going on? Like, we about to fall at the drop of a dime? Like, is this shit about to come out the sky? Is it, you know, it's a lot of things. You start thinking all these movies like, oh, is this about to be a zombie apocalypse or something?
Yeah, right.
What's going on? You know, and the first thing they said was people that work outside. I'm like, damn, I work outside. You know, and you start hearing about people getting coronavirus and start hearing about mail carriers getting it. And it's just like, man, I love my job and I would hate to die or get sick from something that I don't even understand.
Mm-hmm.
Because in my opinion, I think the world doesn't understand coronavirus, you know, there's some people that social distance, there's some people that still go out and kick it.
Yeah.
So I pray every day, man, that, you know, this blows over and doesn't affect my employment, but it is a stressful time, you know, with the demand in packages, people inquiring about the election, expecting you to know everything that goes on within the Trump administration. I just go to work, man. That's what I have to tell my. I'm just here so I don't get fined, you know.
Dude, when did you start writing Say What You Mean? When did the work on the album start?
So in 2019, I did an album called Jokes on You, and I started writing it around then. Okay. I started writing March of 2019, and then I was working on it every day. You know, it was originally going to be 8 songs, but I ended up adding 6 more. And then in December of 2019, I went to New York for the first time.
Oh, nice.
On a couple of songs with my man Ty Zach. And then I came back home, worked on some more, went into 2020, and then in July, that was when we dropped it. So I was writing and creating music for the album for like a year and a half. I knew the songs, I knew what I wanted to do. I did the album cover last minute, you know what I'm saying? But I knew I was gonna call the album Say What You Mean right after I did Jokes on You.
So none of the creative process really happened during this crazy year. It kind of was all done prior to.
It was done. It was done prior, thank God. You know what I'm saying? I got a chance to, you know, do some shows prior to Say What You Mean coming out or prior to the pandemic. I opened up for KRS-One.
Oh, nice.
And I had a birthday show, and then like 2 weeks later, my birthday's March 6th. If I'm not mistaken, like it was like a movie. It was like I had this great show on Saturday, and then like that Monday was like, hey, it's a pandemic. It was like, what the hell? Like
someone's birthday party in Canton seems to be where the outbreak began.
yeah. I was like, but then it was crazy because like coronavirus was talked about, but it wasn't where it's at now.
Yeah.
Because I remember a friend of mine was joking at my listening party. I had an album release party. There was a birthday show, I'm sorry. And I had dapped him up, and he was like, yo, man, you got to be careful because you know that coronavirus, it's spreading. And I was like, oh, you silly. Fast forward 9 months later, 2 million people have this shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like crazy how things can change in such a short period of time, you know, for my musician friends and the record industry. Like it's affecting everything. And you see it every day.
Yeah, man. That's one thing that I'm super worried about is just the live entertainment industry just being completely ravaged. Music in that too. Like I have some
both, man.
Yeah, I have some DJ friends out here who have just been completely stopped in their tracks by this whole thing, and it's like, what is it going to look like next year or when this is done? You know,
those are the first people I thought about because my friend Lakim, he lives in LA, and I was like, yo, man, like, ain't no shows, man. What you gonna do? He's like, man, none of us know. And that's heartbreaking, you know, because I have friends that are full-time musicians and their living is performing. And we can't perform. Like we can, but it's through a computer screen or 10 people. You know what I mean? It's not what it was in March, you know? So my heart goes out to, those full-time musicians out there who are trying to figure it out, you know, because I'm just thankful I had employment. But, man, my heart goes out to the ones that got to figure it out because we trying to figure it out, too, because I couldn't do a show for Say What You Mean, and that sucked because, like, that was my first thought when I was creating the album was, I can't wait to perform these songs. I can't wait for people to hear JJ. I can't wait for people to hear Say What You Mean live. Now it's like I got to talk to my manager about, we got to set up Zoom to do a live show, and it just don't feel the same. Like it's I appreciate it, but it's just I want to be able to touch the people. I want to be able to see, you know. So I just hope coronavirus they figure something out because this it feels like a movie.
Yeah, dude. And for the musicians, it's horrible, and I feel my heart goes out to every musician who's like having to navigate this time and figure out what they're going to do. But as consumers of music too, it sucks because this is such a difficult time and music is such a good release, man. A situation like this, you need things like music. You need things like live events, people getting together, and that's the one thing we can't do.
That's what made me want to drop the album because Say What You Mean was gonna originally come out in April of 2020, and I was like, okay, let's wait, let's see what's going on, let's figure out what's happening with this coronavirus. Is it going to go down? Is it like what the SARS thing was, where everybody was worried and it just blew over, or the swine flu or the bird flu? They talked about it for a minute, and it's like, nah, man, it looks like this shit is here, you know. So we had to figure out, okay, what do we do? So I came out with the album for what you said. You know, I want to make people feel good, you know, take their mind off of what's going on. Because it was depressing for me because I'm like, man, I'm an artist too. How can I put out this album and the world is changing right in front of us? Like, will they enjoy this? Will they appreciate it? Or will they be like, I can't really enjoy it? So that's why I kind of made sure the content was to where it took their mind off of COVID for a minute, or the economy for a minute, or the president for a minute, or their everyday life for a minute. That's why I called it Say What You Mean, because I felt like every word I said on that album meant something to me. Everything, from the skits to the producers, everything meant something to me. So I hope that it meant something to the people that were listening to it in the midst of this pandemic.
Yeah. Oh, the devil's in the details, man. And it's definitely a well put together album.
Thank you.
Enjoyed listening to it every time. Has this time changed at all your view of like your role in the world as an artist and what you can do? Because I mean, I don't know. I don't want to speak for you, but I guess before this, for me, it would seem as though you're just doing what you love just to do it. But then something like this happens and maybe it gives it more meaning or maybe it gives it more importance. I don't know. Have you had any kind of evolution in how you think about your role as a rapper?
Yeah, I have, in regards to how I can use my voice to inspire, because and then also with people passing away, I've having my experiences with death so young, with all this death we see every day from Kobe.
Yeah, man.
Like when I was in New York, I went to New York twice. And the second time I was there was when I found out he died. And I was like, yo, this shit is crazy. Because it's like one of them things where the last person you thought would pass away was Kobe Bryant. And then you start to see people, perfect health, perfect lives, dying from coronavirus. It was like scary.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yo, man, God forbid, if it was my time to go, I gotta make sure everything I do and everything I say means something. It's made me treat people better. It's made me make sure no matter who I meet, we have some type of impact. Like I don't even like to hold a grudge with nobody in the midst of what's going on in 2020. Hip hop, we so competitive. I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm the best. It's just like, bro, we don't have time to be beefing with each other. Like, it's a pandemic out here, man. People's dying. It's like, if anything, we got to come together, especially with the way people of color are being treated amongst police, things like that too, man. It's like, why are we going at each other when we should be coming together more?
Yeah.
Like this is the perfect time for people to be like, all right, you know what? Forget all the other stuff. We need to come together as a collective because everyone's battling something. There's it's like good versus evil. It's Trump versus this. It's like when you see people like you dying every day on the TV and people minding their business, getting killed by police, people protesting, doing the right that's given to them, and they can't even protest without getting beat up or stomped on or treated like shit. It makes you look at this world different. It makes you look back at, okay, what am I doing or saying to make this a better place? Yeah. So it's why now with my newer music, I just been thinking like, what can I say to help? What can I do to help? You know what I'm saying? It makes you look at your place and stance in this world and make sure you're doing something right. Because right now you got to be doing something.
How's that different from how you used to think about what you were saying in your music?
Because when those days I was 18-year-old college kid, had freedom, friends, a social life, girls, what I mean?
Yeah.
you were young, we were young 18-year-old kids in Athens, Ohio. Yeah, we had school, but everyone was just living free,
Oh, we went to school there? I don't remember that part.
Right. That's the thing, like, it was its own planet. So like when we were there in Athens, we were just like, we chilling. Like, yeah, I got a 6-page paper to do tomorrow, but I'll do that the day it's due.
Yeah.
Versus now it's like, damn, I gotta start saving my money now because tomorrow they could say the post office is closed. And what am I gonna do? I never thought I'd live through something like this. And me being a father, I had to teach my son and tell him like, okay, this is what's going on. This is why you're doing remote learning. And this is why daddy tells you to wash your hands everywhere you go, put your mask on. I never thought I'd be having to make sure I got to leave with my car keys, my wallet, and my mask everywhere I go.
Yeah.
It's crazy, So as an artist, you just want to make sure you're not saying no bullshit.
Yeah.
A lot of BS music out in hip hop, and it's like, bro, with everything going on in this world, that's what you're talking about? People trying to go viral, have a little bit of fame. Like, it's not worth it. We got to talk about things that's going to mean something. So,
Do you think there's any value though in that kind of music that doesn't talk about anything? Does it give people a chance to escape for a little bit? Does it provide value in that sense, do you think?
Well, yeah. I mean, not everybody listens to music to be inspired.
Mm-hmm.
Some people listen to music to chill. Some people
Mm-hmm.
listen to music to set the mood with their lady. So it's all about what you're listening to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going off of what's being popular, what's being thrown in our faces, and it's like the things that's being thrown in our faces is not talking about what's going on when I watch CNN.
Yeah.
Nothing about it.
The only thing I can think of is WAP.
That's it. That was like the only song that was on the news because everyone was talking about it because people act like they never heard about sex before.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dog, there have been songs we listened to in high school that aren't even close. WAP ain't even close to the stuff we came up on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
It's probably just the salacious video, man. The video probably.
yeah, it's like y'all never seen the nasty. Y'all never seen a video like. Come on, man, but people listen to music for what they want to listen to it for. I choose to make my music just for everyday people that want to just feel good and hear a everyday guy who's not pretending that he has it. I like to let people know, like, look, I'm in the same boat as you. I go to work, I put gas in my car, I put one leg on, pants on one leg at a time, just like you. I don't want people to listen to me and feel like they're worshiping me. I want them to be like, yo, you know what? He's a dope MC and he's a good person. Because people don't forget that shit. They don't forget when people are shitty to them. So they want to hear an everyday person that's like, you know what, he's dope. I'm behind him,
Yeah, I think that's super valuable right now because one thing that I think is coming to light during this coronavirus time is just how different classes of people are being affected completely differently. I mean, you have like the stock market, which has been just going up and up the whole time. People are losing their jobs. And it's just like there's such a weird disconnect here. It's refreshing whenever people who have a platform are relatable, and they don't seem like they're part of this untouchable class, Does that make sense?
It does, man, because as a hip-hop artist and as a fan of hip-hop, it's hard to relate to a rapper that talks about having 50,000 on his neck, but it's like, I ain't got shit on my neck. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got this new foreign. It's like I have a Mazda. You know what I'm saying? It's a little different. So some people listen to that stuff to get motivated, but then there's people who be like, you know what? I like Jèan P because he talked about getting a flat tire. Because I got a flat tire on my car. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, hey, people wanna hear that. They want to hear everyday music. There's people that want to hear everyday music. There's people that want to hear bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is.
You still listen? Do you listen to any bullshit, quote unquote bullshit? I don't want to call someone's art bullshit.
I don't want to disrespect it and call it bullshit.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I don't want to call someone's art bullshit, but you know what I mean. Like
there's music that's opposite of my style that I do like.
Yeah.
Like my son listens to a rapper named Sada Baby. He has a song. It's all over TikTok. I like Sada Baby. I like man, who I've been listening to? But I still listen to music that's similar to my style. Like I don't listen to a lot of bullshit. I listen to a lot of older music. Dreamville, TDE.
Nice, yeah.
Schoolboy Q. I like my oldies. I collect records. I like Curtis Mayfield. Marvin Gaye is like my favorite artist. I listen to him daily. I listen to him so much, people that wouldn't know him think he was a new artist. I'm like, you got Marvin Gaye on your phone? Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned social justice, man. Maybe let's go there.
Let's do it.
How has that affected, your artistry? I mean, I want to word this the right way. Like how, because this is not news. Like this stuff is not something new. And, I think we might have a slight disagreement about what is happening. Mm-hmm. But before we go there, what is like your takeaway from all this, and how is it influencing who you are as Jèan P, the MC?
Well, I will say lately I've been having to represent being a black man even more, because like when you see people every day on mail routes with Trump flags on their cars, it's, to me, that's alarming. Like, to see people brandish that shit like it's the greatest thing in the world, it's like, bro, you're representing something that is not the best. And I respect people's views, but it's made me want to be more in tune with how I am as a black man. You know, like, I'm not afraid wherever I go to show that I'm black and I'm proud. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wear a black fist around my neck every day at work, you know, to represent and not forget who I am, you know, as a man. So it just hurts that, like, you seeing these innocent people dying, man, in the hands of people that don't look like them, and it ain't being solved. You know, it kind of makes me, it makes me prayerful, and it makes me worried that when I live in a nice area, when I go out here, I gotta keep my hands on 10 and 2. You know, I gotta put my insurance card and my license on my seat. You know, like, even when no officers around, like, things like that makes me be like, man, I gotta take pride in being black, man. But at the same time, it's hard being black sometimes, man. Like, gotta just, like, it breaks my heart, man. You know, because when you see like people like Ahmaud Arbery, that shit, it makes you feel like, damn, like this is going on. Like, this is happening. This should not be happening, man. So I pray. I try to think of things I could do to help. I want to keep helping. I want to educate myself on what's going on in this world, you know, for a better future, man. Like, it's so important for hip hop artists nowadays to use our voices the right way, because these kids are seeing that shit too. They're seeing these people dying from the hands of police, and they listen to these rappers, and some of them ain't talking about it. We have to talk about it, man. We have to. Like, on Say What You Mean, that's why I made Letter to My Seed. I have a song I wrote for my son, and I was just telling them, like, I remember vividly saying, don't be the person that they think you are. You know, because there's people that view black people as one way. You know, they just think we're this. That's how they are. And I tell him that's not what you are. You be what you want to be in this world. There's gonna be people that don't want to see you. There's people that don't want to see black mailmen. You know what I'm saying? But
do you experience that in your route? Like, some,
not on my route, because my route is I'm around my own people. You know, I'm in the city. You know, but you experience it in the workforce. You know, like, just people looking at you kind of sideways because you walk around with this. I walk around with this on my face, and I wear my fist around my neck. Like, I don't hide that I'm a black man. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't hide that. You know, but I'm in an interracial relationship. You know, so it's like when we go places, people stare at us like they never seen two people be in love before. You know, and it's just different now with the political climate and, you know, things that's going on in this world. But I take pride in it, man. You know, I take pride in it. I embrace it. I don't hide it, because I know there's other black men in this world that feel how I feel. So I feel we all need to just come together and inspire other black men to keep going, to keep pushing, because it's been hard mentally. You know, like we talked about earlier, it's hard turning on the news and seeing people dying from viruses and police. So I just try to inspire, man, and let people know I ain't afraid to be a black man in this world, even though it's scary to be in America right now. You know what I mean?
I don't want to get too off into the weeds here. I guess I'll just state how I feel about it, because I totally agree that, like, we have a lot of issues in this country that need to be sorted out. and a lot of it comes from our history with racism. But I also feel like one of the issues we have is just the role of like the media in kind of
Yeah.
pitting us against each other, you know, and there's a lot of stuff that they show us that is just horrible, and that there's so much that they don't show us because they know it won't get us fired up in the same way as the things that they do show us, if that makes sense. And and they're driven by getting people angry or
That's
afraid.
what this information, you know what I'm saying? We go to the news, you know, and we see what's going on, like going off what you said, like Ice Cube. Like people are trying to cancel him.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
Yeah, because I guess he came up with a plan, but he spoke with some people in the Trump administration. And instead of people reading and understanding why he did it, because of what was on Twitter and social media and the media, oh, Ice Cube's a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you're a Trump supporter. Like, there's people, Democrats and Republicans meet with each other every day. You don't see Democrats saying, "Oh, you met with that Republican, you're canceled." It's like, no, these people, you have to meet with those people sometimes and have conversations about what we can do. And honestly, Ice Cube said it best. He said he's the president. So of course, if I'm able to speak with him in regards to how to better a Black America, I'm going to go to the president. You know what I'm saying? To come up with a plan. The first thing people saw was Ice Cube spoke with the Trump administration. Fuck Ice Cube. He's canceled. Why are you talking to him? And he was like, first of all, I'm not Democrat or Republican, so I can talk to who I want to speak with. I'm trying to come up with something for Black people, whether you're Republican, Democratic, or not.
Yeah, exactly. I feel the same way, man. Yeah.
Like, whether he said Democratic or not, Black is Black. They all view us the same way. Even the people that support Trump that's Black, they still look at them the same way. Sadly, you know what I'm saying? It's like they just attacked him so quick because the media is like, I feel like sometimes these numbers, I don't know if they are true, but sometimes the numbers be scaring people. Like they be like, oh yeah, 2,500 people, because CNN said it, 2,500 people a day, you get coronavirus or something. But they're going off of what's being presented to them. But it's all that we have to know. How do we know? You know, like, it could be 2,500, it could be 250,000. We don't know. But that's why, like I said, like I don't act like I know everything in politics. So I research. If I want to know something, we got the resources on our phones now. You know what I'm saying? If you want to know something, look it up.
Yep.
So if I want to know things, I look them up. Yep. So I definitely get what you're saying on like the influence of the media, man, because people just believe anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you good. I'm just saying people just believe anything that's in front of them. Anything. Yeah. First thing they see.
Yeah. A lot of times people don't realize what the incentive is of the media. You know, it's like they're not incentivized to tell us the truth, really. They're incentivized to get eyeballs on their website, eyeballs on their news. So
it's a business.
Yeah, it's a business.
Everything is a business, man. So they like, yeah, we want to tell y'all good news, but we know the more we talk about Donald Trump, the more it's going to get people to watch. Everyone knows Trump's an evil, bad person right now, but we keep talking about him. The TV keeps talking about him. Why? Because he's the most. He's doing the most.
Yeah, so we all want to know what Trump did today. What did Trump do today?
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Like when he got the coronavirus, every 10 minutes it was, oh, Trump walked into the hospital today. Did you know Trump took a test today? Everything. Like, it's just, man.
I want to, yeah. I want to kind of bring it back to something you said that I really agree with and like believe wholeheartedly is like one of the major problems we have facing us right now. And that's just the unwillingness of people to talk to each other and like to reach across the line. And I'm curious, like, how do you view your artistry do you view your artistry as a way to make that bridge happen? I know that you have fans, very diverse fans, not just Black fans, not just white fans. So I'm curious, how do you view your role in helping bring people together that might disagree?
Hip hop is that, like, you could be in a room full of people you don't even know. but you play one song that all y'all know together, y'all gonna sing that shit together. We always reference back to Athens. How many times have you gone out uptown and then sang Sweet Caroline and shit with people you never know, but it was a good song because you all knew it, or you went to the pub and they played Lil Wayne and we all in there singing this song,
Yeah.
drinking, but that's hip hop. Like that's why they try to make it look so bad, but like hip hop brings people together, man. Black, white, Asian, you know what I'm saying? Hispanic. That's the power of music. You know what I'm saying? So that's why hip hop gets the bad rap. They think we're just meant to poison. Like that's not our mission. Sometimes people talk about what they know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you can't fault the guy talking about the hood all the time because that could be all that he knows.
Right.
That's all that he knows. Can't fault Jèan P talking about work and
Or
his
his
wife all
beagle.
the time, or his dog. But I know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I just hope that my music can bring people together, man, because I think it's crazy. Like when I go to places like Sandy Valley, like, you know, rural areas, and kids be like, oh man, we listen to Jèan P. And I'm like, I didn't even think they even listen to rap out here, but they just love music. That's the power of music.
Yeah. That's beautiful, man. That's good whenever you have people representing the culture. I don't want to make this all about race, but we're talking about it. Like white people being introduced to, maybe people live in a rural area where they don't interact with black people very often,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and they maybe never see a black person in their daily life on a normal basis. So to have someone representing the culture in an honest way and presenting themselves as someone who's relatable, if you just read your lyrics in some songs, you wouldn't know what race you are. You know, it's just like, this is just a guy who's living his life and sharing it. And I think,
My girlfriend is a teacher. She's an art teacher, and she teaches in like a really like rural area. And like when you ask those kids what rap they listen to, it's kind of funny because they instantly go to like the gangster rap, because like in their eyes that's what they think, or some people think, is how black people are. It's like, no, we're not all gang banging, disrespecting women. There's some artists out here with some sense, but hip hop is a way for people that don't know my side to listen to it. It's like a group of white kids like, man, I wonder what it's really like to be black. They're gonna listen to whatever rap artist they want to hear and go off of what they're ingesting. You know, like when kids listen to, like, I don't know, Young Jeezy. Like when Jeezy came out, they didn't know what a trap was. They learned what a trap was listening to Jeezy. You know what I'm saying? So they're like, oh man, this must be what it's like in the hood. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause this is what Young Jeezy said. This is what Lil Wayne says. This is what Drake says. So hip hop, it educates people that don't know our world on it. You know, it can be a learning tool. It can be something you learn from, something you don't learn from. But that's why I talk about what I talk about, because I don't want people to look at Jèan P and think I'm not who I am. So it's like I can't be out in these streets lying about having this and having that when people see me going to work every day. So why be a liar? Why paint a false picture? For what?
Yeah.
You see me every day. So I'm gonna put it on the table. Some guys won't put it on the table because they don't want people to look at them a certain way. Oh, I don't want people knowing I got a job, but I'm gonna just keep acting like I'm already on, or act like I done made it. It's like that's the wrong way of going about it, in my opinion.
Do you think that maybe harms race relations in a way? Like having music that represents a people, and it could be white people too. Like there's plenty of white artists who make songs that could, if you weren't familiar with white people, might make you feel a certain way about them. But like it can do a lot of good, obviously, like what we were just talking about. But do you think it can also kind of create a bigger divide between people?
I think when it comes to like subject matter,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, like there's some people that listen to Chuck D and think Chuck D is crazy. But then there's some people that listen to Chuck D and be like, he's saying what we need to know. You know what I'm saying? Like some people be quick to say that don't know hip hop. Oh, Chuck D is a revolutionary. He's making people think this of us, but he's telling you facts. And He'll tell you this is where I got my information from. So you may not agree with all of what we say, but it's what we know.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like KRS-One, he calls himself the teacher because he talked about things that his white teachers wasn't teaching him. You know, the things that he was learning in school, it didn't make no sense because it didn't include people that looked like him.
Yeah.
So hip hop, they were like, well, shit, if they're not gonna teach us, we gonna teach y'all because this is what we know. This is facts. But we're gonna make it sound good.
Mm-hmm.
So I think hip hop can bring people together, but if people don't agree with what we're saying, there can be that divide.
Yeah, and I just while you were speaking, I also kind of had the thought that in some circumstances it's like up to the listener to interpret it the right way, right?
Yes, that's
And to listen to it as someone talking about the things that they see in their daily lives. It might come across as being violent or promoting drug use or something, but if the rapper is being honest in their lyrics, there's something to understand about what is going on with certain communities, right? There's like what is troubling impoverished communities in certain regions. Well, you can listen to a rapper from that region and maybe get a picture to understand of like what some of the difficulties there are.
If you really want to know something, like I remember when I first went, I've always loved New York City. Always loved New York, even before I went there. So when I went to New York and I saw firsthand, like, yo, these people really live on top of each other.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, this is what they be talking about when they say like you got to get it in New York. When you listen to a lot of New York rappers, one thing they will say in their songs is you got to get it in New York. Mm-hmm. That city never sleeps. So that you know when you go to New York, okay, this is what I'm getting into. When you listen to a West Coast rapper in the hood, this is what I'm getting into. Mm-hmm. So you being the listener, and I teach it to my son. My son likes XXXTentacion. That's his dude. Swears by it. You can't tell him shit about XXXTentacion. You know what I'm saying? But I teach my son, like, okay, this is what you're listening to. Know what you're listening to. If you don't know something, come to me and ask me about it. Mm-hmm. I don't want you going to school talking about the things he talk about. Because, you know, he doesn't say the most favorable things sometimes, but my son's also 9 and he don't understand it. So if he wants to know what it means, he asks me. Mm-hmm. So it's up to me as a parent and it's up to the listener as an adult how you're taking in the music.
Right. Like understanding the difference between someone promoting something and someone being honest about their life, right?
Yes, because me and my son had the conversation about the N-word. You know what I'm saying? He likes YNW Melly. And
not familiar.
What'd you say?
I'm not familiar.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not familiar with a lot of these rappers either. But the song, he said he was a young nigga. And one day my son was like, I'm a young nigga, Dad. And I was like, that's not what you are. And he said, well, yeah, I am, because that's what they say. I'm like, but that's not who you are. Mm-hmm. You're not a nigga. You know what I'm saying? It may sound cool to say. I say it with my boys, but that's not who you are. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you to develop that for yourself at 9 years old.
Right.
Yeah, the rappers say it. You know what I'm saying? But I tell him that's not who you are. So at my job as a parent, I teach him what that means. And then he was like, oh, okay. Now you know that's not who you are. Now you know why that's not who you are. So it's up to us as parents and educators and with our platforms, what we're teaching and what we're taking in.
Yeah, I love that, man. I love that level of honesty and think that's super important and something that's missing from even just like general education. Like whenever you're talking about rappers teaching about things that we might not know about, that we might not be learning in everyday life. And
cool, yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that I learned this year that I had no idea about was like Black Wall Street in Tulsa. Like I had never learned that ever. That was news to me this year. And it was like, what the fuck? Yeah. That's
but my Black teachers taught me that. You know, I never had a teacher that was white that told me like, yeah, you know, there was a economy with black people and all black businesses at one point in time in history, they didn't teach me that's not in the American history book. There might be a little paragraph about it, and then they're gonna keep talking about the other shit.
Mm-hmm.
But KRS-One, he was like, yeah, we are original people. We all are. We know the slavery thing. Like, okay, that's real, But this, what they telling you, it was way worse. In their eyes, it's like, oh, they just put us on this boat and just took us there. I'm like, no. Some of them people was going in them villages, wasn't asking no questions, snatching people, killing people, raping women, killing babies. Like, it wasn't all, hey, come with us. No.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them people was going in there and whooping ass and taking names on innocent lives and then forcing them to come to a country that they don't know to work. They don't tell you, like, we were a part of this country too. We built some of this shit too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
for sure, yeah.
They're not going to teach you that though in no books. But it's crazy how I learned that from a hip hop artist. I didn't know shit about being a vegan. I never even knew what that was until I heard a Tribe Called Quest talk about it. I didn't know what an STD was until I learned it from this rapper. He may have said it in a very creative way that wasn't the most educational, but I learned, okay, that's what that is. Okay, so what do? I buy condoms. Because that rapper talked about getting his dick burned versus my grandmother who was raising me, who would tell me, oh, we're not having sex, but that's all she's saying though.
Mm-hmm.
And my Uncle Jerry, oh yeah, you don't want to do that. So hip hop, it teaches a lot of men like me that don't have parents or don't have that father figure. Sometimes we learn from them guys about life.
Yeah.
Because they look like us. They came up like us. You know what I'm saying? So hip hop it's influential, man, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's got a huge reach, and I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, man. I used to listen to hip hop all the time. I've been, for the last couple of years, like on the podcast thing, I've kind of gotten out of keeping up with new music, but it's still on my playlist. My regular go-tos is still some of the stuff I listened to from college. So
what was you bumping?
Dude, Big Crit is still my jam.
Crit, man. I remember he came to you when I met him at
that show was insane, and the fact that there was like nobody there and he just
what? Yeah.
Everyone come up to the front. I'll never forget that.
That was during the blackout. I think they were having a blackout game. And everyone was at the basketball court watching the game, and I'm just like, yo, they do not understand Big Crit is here.
I know, there's like 300 people there, maybe.
Crit, Dom Kennedy,
yep,
Beta, Il Poetic, you know what I'm saying? They were there. But yeah, man, I miss them days, man, the blog era of hip hop.
Yeah.
Like, now they're talking about the blog era like it's old. I'm like, I was there. Getting on the blogs where we go out of town and make a playlist and see what we listen to. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's changing. It's changing.
But you stay the same, man. Music changes, but you stay the same.
I try to keep up with what's going on. I just try to work on myself as an artist the best way I can. Learning the business, learning different things creatively as an MC. Like, I always remind myself that there's room to grow. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't ever get comfortable. That's why, like, I have so much music, because I always get a spur of creativity and I just want to keep going. And then I make another album.
Are you working on an album right now?
Not at the moment. I'm listening to a lot of beats. I've been trying to learn how to make beats.
Oh, nice.
So I've been on that for a while. Plus the winter months is coming up. So that's when I get creative in the fall. So when I'm not recording, I'm writing more, listening to more beats. That way when the winter comes, I'm cooped up in here.
You got them all ready to go.
Got it ready to go. So,
nice, man. Well, I really appreciate you giving me the chance to have this convo with you, man.
Nah, man, thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. I like to see people from the good old days still doing their thing, man. So it's good to hear from you. It's good to see you doing well. Yeah. You know what I mean? And Because like I said, it's a stressful time for all of us. If you would have told me on the days of Palmer Fest, when I become 30 years old, we lived through a pandemic, I probably wouldn't have believed you.
Yeah, and mass riots and the most contentious presidential election in our history.
Vote or die for real.
Yeah.
Like, it is real. Like, you better vote. Like, so I feel you completely, man. So it's always a pleasure linking up with you, man. And hopefully we can do this again sometime.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, definitely. If you next time you got an album come out, do a round on here, man. No doubt.
You already know, man. Yeah.
Yeah. One, two. Yeah. 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 My dreams why I can't sleep at night. They tryna find out why that happy ass nigga so mean on the mic. Mad stubborn but he humble with a splash of arrogance. Fast learner but sometimes you can't tell me shit. The 330s wherever I go. East Coast, Midwest, down south, all the way to Cali and them tacos. This rap game far from picture perfect. The songs that you make trash, it ain't even worth it. Dog, I don't understand this shit. They quick to call me Hollywood because I got a couple dollars and some management. Why you tryna play me stupid? I ain't picky with the beats if it's dope, loop it. Yeah, you got that top spot, but you gon' lose it. If I drop my shit now, the people gon' lose it. Grown man music, forever a student. At 30 years old, this is what it looks like when you turn silver to gold.
Say go, Jèan P, go, Jèan P, go.
Go, Jèan P, go, Jèan P, go.
Say go, Jèan P, go, Jèan P, go.
Go, Jèan P, go, Jèan P, go.
Now say do that shit, do that shit, do it.
Yeah, do that shit, do that shit, do it.
Now say do that shit, do that shit, do it.
Do that shit, do that shit, do it.
They said look up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. The reason that you'll never look at striped shirts the same. This might never fail me, it's nothing you can tell me. Ask around, I'm good on both sides of 12th Street. They said in order to teach, you gotta listen. I keep my beagle close to sniff out competition. Let's get back to these bars, back to the style like when you said hip-hop, it was the reason that you smile. Name a rapper in my city that I ain't touched. They call me Johnny Bravo, tell them thank you very much. You got left cause your ass wasn't acting right. Want me to pay attention, homie, what's your asking price? Man, I advise you study me before you test my patience. And just because I'm chill mean I ain't gon' say shit. Listen, I am not the one, leave my ass alone. The only Charlie I acknowledge once played the saxophone, and that's say
a fact.
Go, Jèan P, go,
Peace,
Jèan
peace.
P, go.
Go, Jèan P, go, Jèan P, go.
Say go, Jèan P, go, Jèan P, go.
Go, Jèan P, go, Jèan P, go.
Now say do that shit, do that shit.